Hey guys, welcome to the show. I am Brent here at Andreas in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are Porsche 944 specialists. I do a live stream every Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And as always, you can go back and watch the live streams if you just click the live tab above on my channel. So, going to get started here in just a second. It is a very nice Sunday out today. Sun isn't out, but it feels like fall. It's cooled off a little bit, so it feels really nice. And put the TV on today. Usually I turn it off during the live streams, but how appropriate is it that the Top Gear channel is playing the one on the budget 924 and 944 and 928 episode? So I'm just gonna let it run. Might turn it down here in a little bit, but I thought that was pretty appropriate. So anyway, guys, to get kicked off here, I'm going to ask you guys how you are doing and what you're working on, and I'll show you around the shop and let you see what we're working on, and then I'll take some questions from you guys. Of course, we've got a commercial right now, but anyway, hope everybody's having a great Sunday. We're going to see if we can get this pearl white finished up before 944 Fest. About the only thing we have left to do is the headliner and put the seats back in. Hopefully it doesn't take us very long. I'm going to try and get that headliner finished up today. We have the engine in this 924S that is being turbocharged. Just have to put the harness in, and then we can start putting the turbo on. We also have a turbo trans that's going in there. So in the shop now we have 7 cars in here, and we probably have 10 more outside. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm getting some comments. I'm not going to read some of these screen names, so if you watched last week's episode, you'll know that I don't play that here. But I appreciate you guys coming in to watch, but yeah, you're not going to get too much of a rise out of me. I've been on the internet way too long. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in and leaving comments. I said the episode where Top Gear bought the cheap Porsches is on, and I thought that was very appropriate. This is just Top Gear channel that's on Plex, so I had nothing to do with this. It's just serendipitous or coincidental, but pretty cool. So if you haven't seen it, it's a fun episode. I wish they'd done more episodes with 944, but so how's the weather where everybody's at? We'll get into showing you more cars. Jeffrey says, "Hi Brent, reassembling my engine." Let me know if the TV's distracting. If it's louder than I am, then I can turn it down. So Jeffrey says he's reassembling his engine from the head up on his 84 944 with the underhood restoration. Trying to make it the 944 Fest. Well, good luck. We're running out of time here. Robert says, "Did you see that the metal gas tanks are being remanufactured? It must be better than doing the cleaning or resealing." It absolutely is. I did not see that, but thanks for the info. I'm going to go check that out. Happy Fox says, "Hi guys." Well, awesome. Always glad to have more subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. And again, this week we just have more. Again, I'm not going to interact. So. Oh, that's good to know. That's a good and a bad thing. Or maybe what is it, dance. I bought some parts from them and they're like really well made, and then other things that's just a little off. So hopefully the gas tank or fuel tank won't be one of those things that's just a little off. Jeffrey said 99 degrees in the garage Friday and Saturday. Ouch. It's cooled down here a little bit. I've still got the air on, but I turned it up a little bit so it doesn't have to run. Dan asks, what are we working on? We've got all sorts of 944s here. So earlier in the show, I showed the white turbo that we're working on. Hopefully gonna have that done this week. We'll see how it goes. But we also have this 87 944S. So I believe last week we were going in and checking to see where all the leaks were coming from in the coolant system. Well, we found that on the side of the head there was some JB weld, and when we pressure tested it, we only had to go up to about 5 pounds or 5 psi, and looks like someone had cracked the side of the head, so we're going to have to get that fixed. And as we were taking the head off, we found that one of the saddles from the journals was scored. So now we got to take it to a specialist. I've called around. I cannot find a good used head. They do have new ones, but a little pricey. So we're going to see if we can get this one repaired and get it back together. It came in with a no start issue. We got that resolved. It was just a broken wire on the reference sensor there. Easy fix, but we did have to take the intake off because even though it would start, didn't run right because the throttle position switch was not in the correct position, so we had to take the intake off just to adjust that. Once that was done, we made sure all the wiring looked good, and now we're down to doing the head. You get a greetings from Poland. Well, greetings from Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you for joining us. I missed a few comments. I've got to. So Robert says, I'm able to install a stereo amp in my turbo. Where's the best and easiest place to mount it? Where did the factory put the factory amplifier? I believe that it was under the seat. I have only seen two 10-speaker systems that had the amp, and I've never pulled up the carpet to find it. We got the seats out of a 968 over here, so, but I saw a hump under the seat. That's my best guess. There's not a lot of room underneath there, especially if you have power and heated seats, so you may not be able to get an amp underneath there. Nardo Gray 951 says, finally able to catch another live stream here in SoCal. Well, welcome to the show live. I'm glad you could join us. Happy Fox says, I got this loud clomp going on in my brake drum. Only when the handbrake while rolling. Doesn't bother me, but the MOT. Do you know exactly what spring is off? I would go in and just probably adjust everything at this point. It sounds like something's moving around. I know the clomp you're talking about, and mine would do it. Why are they trying to drive it with the wheels moving anyway? But yeah, it's a pretty normal sound. But mine would do it if I accidentally leave it on and I try and pull forward, and especially if I try and go back. So like sometimes I'll use the handbrake if I'm on a really bad slope, like where my eye doctor is. If you pull too far forward, you just go into this hole. So I've got to park, and I'll hold the handbrake until I'm like switch my foot to the gas real quick, and then pull it back. It'll make that little clonk there. But I would just go in and just check everything out. It could be something, maybe even put a little tad bit of grease on the adjuster plate there that spreads it out. I put it on a brake dyno thing, and they're easily scared. MOT. I can imagine. I know that they go through everything there. Someone asked to see more of this car, so yeah, we'll walk over here. I'm lugging around the tripod so I can set the phone down every now and then, but I'll give you guys a closer look at this. I showed it off last week a little bit. So this is a 944S engine without the head on it. I'll go ahead and take this gasket off. We're gonna replace it anyway. See the valve reliefs there. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but this car has sort of a rosy tint to it, especially out in the sun. I've done a really nice job on the dash. The seats look great. Thomas Spina asks, he's got a 1986 turbo. I need to recharge the AC system with just a bit of Freon, maybe once or twice during the hot months. It's simple to do. Should I just do it and not worry about the whole AC system? So I would probably have that checked out. If it's twice in a year, that seems a little excessive. Let's say if it was once a year, You still want to have it checked out, but it's not, fill it up in the spring and then you probably make it all summer and then it's not such a big deal. Still want to have it checked out though, but twice a year, that seems a little excessive. I would go ahead and get that time. So what we've found sometimes is, well, most of the time when we do AC, um, it's usually the compressor leaking. These compressors are old, so we just go ahead and replace those. But we have come across things where aftermarket amplifiers and stuff were screwed up to the evaporator, and so you could be looking at something like that. That's why I would say just go ahead and have that checked out. And a good place could probably vacuum out the system, recover everything, and smoke test it so that way you can see where you're losing that much. Oh, tripod did not want to hold on to it. Anyway, I would have it smoke tested and just have it checked out. So that way you're not constantly having to battle that. Robert asks, how do you access the AC expansion valve in the late model car? Okay, so on the later cars, it's so much easier. It's still not fun, but it's so much easier. So it says, can you see the valve from the cowl? No, unfortunately, you have to take the cowl out of the way. So first you'll need to remove the wiper blades. These are gonna have covers on them. You just take the covers off. Take these nuts off, remove the wiper, take the whole wipers and blades, everything off here. Then you'll need to peel up this cowl. Sometimes you get lucky and the cowl just peels up because the tape's old. Sometimes we've gotten cars in here where we have to carefully take a razor blade and just scrape and cut that tape until it comes off. But then once you remove the cowl, there's just going to be a bunch of screws down there holding the blower motor housing in. You just take that out, flip it over, and then over on this side here, next to towards where the battery is, you're going to look down in there and you're going to see this wad of foam, and that's where your expansion valve is going to be. And then it's just easy peasy to get it out. Put some new seals on it and put the new one in. But I would, while you've got that out and you've got the AC lines open, go ahead and take your dryer out and blow some compressed air through the line to that point. So basically from that point to the expansion valve, there's little grains in the dryer, and it's a I'm looking for the word, but anyway, the dryer has anyway, it's filled with stuff and it'll break open a little sack of decontescent. Is that the word I'm looking for? But anyway, absorbs moisture. And as it just wears out over the years, it'll just absolutely just fill the system with it, and that's what clogs your expansion valve. Usually expansion valves don't go bad, they just get clogged over time, a lot of times from particulate with the dryer, the filter doesn't catch. So while that's open, blow that line out, and you want to blow in the direction that the Freon will travel through the system. So it's from the dryer to the evaporator, and then it'll clean that line out. And you can try and do that on the same side, just blow that out through the other way, and you might get lucky and push some stuff out through your condenser. But then install that, and sometimes I have done that and I've blown a lot of stuff out of it, and then I put everything back together, and 2 days later, the AC's not working again because now more stuff has worked its way out of it. Yeah. So let's say, I'm trying to, yeah, for some reason, yeah, I can't say that word for some reason. It doesn't want to come out today, but I appreciate that. But the water absorbing stuff. But yeah, you blow it out in the direction that everything flows, and once you have it blown out, you might have to, sometimes you go back in there after 2 days and it's pushed even more stuff out. So you want to get it as clean as possible and push as much out as you can, then put the expansion valve back in there. And then after that, you can go ahead and put your new compressor on and everything else. So Happy Fox says, is there any trick to making the foam really stick without taking the hood off? So here's the trick we do here. So, all right. So first thing we do is we try and get the hood as clean as possible. As you can see here, this car is probably going to get repainted. So you clean as much off the hood as you can. Get all this off. Don't go too crazy. You don't have to worry about it looking perfect. If, you know, say you're not repainting your hood and everything else looks fine and there's just some stuff up underneath here. Go ahead and just spray some Gorilla Glue or 3M spray on there, spray glue on there, and just put it on there very carefully. And that's going to hold better than just trying to put it up there by itself. It is self-adhesive, and the adhesive's good, but as you all know, it just likes to fall down again. But if you put the Gorilla Glue or something on there, it's never coming off there. And the stuff they make it out of today should last a little longer. We'll see. But when painting a car, do you remove the rain gutter rails? Yes, so we do. I was reading a comment after that. But yes, we always remove the rain rails on the car. So we have this one over here. And even on the later cars where it's far more of a pain in the butt to remove, we remove them anyway. So you can see this is removed on the 83. You're going to be in very good luck because it's just going to pop off. Just take a little screwdriver, put some tape on it. Get like one of those stubby ones, put some paper tape on there and just gently pry it off. They're so easy to remove that they will warp trying to come off there. So just take your time. Even the little part where it's just held on by tension, that will try and spread out a little bit. So just take your time with it, pull it off. It just comes straight off evenly. So don't try and force it up or down. It just comes straight out towards you. And just take your time with it. You won't bend anything. And should be it. Okay. Jeffrey says, I missed your question above. Let's see. Let me go back. Is there any alignment secret when installing the right-hand balance shaft cover bearing case? Because the left-hand bracket that bolts up both each balance shaft and binding up. Yes. Okay. So actually, someone texted me this the other day, and I covered this in one of my longer format videos. So years ago, I used to do how-to videos, and nobody watched them. So I just decided to start making more entertaining, longer videos, and then I would just cover things that I hadn't covered. And so that's kind of where we're at now. So in a longer video that I did on a white 944 turbo, it was 1989, we'd had this issue, and I showed in the video how to do this. And so what we'll do is, this is why I do the live stream, so that way you guys can always go back and see this. Actually, I have an engine on the stand. I'm gonna see if I can get over there. If not, I'll get up underneath the car and I'll show you what to do. So the guy earlier this week had this problem, showed him how to do it, and it worked perfectly. So I might just flip the camera around and get up underneath this one right quick. All right. Oh, you're not going to be able to see anything. Maybe I can get the one that's on the stand. Let me see if I can drag this engine that's out on the stand over here. But someone said huge pasture vibes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm blind. I have to wear glasses nowadays. Yeah. This is the 944 church. Someone said I also missed their question above. Let's see. I try and see everything. Daniel. Let's see. Okay, I'll try and look for it here in a minute. I'm trying to get this engine out here. So, okay, so this is what a lot of people run into here. This is the problem with doing stuff live. You never know what you're gonna need, what props are gonna need to be on hand. So we're just gonna make it happen. So. All right. Try and pull this engine out. So let me show you what I've done here. So basically right now I'm trying to pull this engine out here. The way you guys can see it from the side, maybe you can see it now. Okay, so what happens is you just have to imagine that balance shaft covers here. Well, I call it the cap. So the balance shaft cap is here. And you have this bracket here. Let me see if I can loosen this up. Well, anyway, this bracket slides back and forth. So what you need to do is, right now I have this bolted down because we just resealed this cover. So I go ahead and torque it down and I'll let it dry for a few days. And then once this is cured up, then we'll loosen this up and you can slide this back and forth, right? So then you're gonna slide this all the way back, put this cover on here and bolt it down, torque it down all the way. And you're gonna slide this up to it, put this bolt in, then lock this down. So what happens is a lot of people will have this too far back and not realize it. When they put this bolt in, it's gonna cock the thing to the side and then this shaft isn't gonna wanna turn. So that is what happens, and that's why your balance shaft gets tight when you do that, because that bracket's out of place. Okay, I'll see it. Let's see. First time joining, when I take the steering wheel nut off my 86, should I avoid having the steering wheel lock engaged to avoid breaking while loosening the steering wheel nut? Yes. Just be careful with it. If it's gonna be that tight, then just take your time with it. It's not a big deal. You just don't want to put a lot of force on it all at once. So if you do feel the need to lock the steering wheel because it's super tight, just sort of like, and I've made a video on this before, but whenever you're removing the steering wheel, you want it to come, the breaker bar to come down and like hit you in the thigh if it breaks loose suddenly rather than going through the windshield. So just keep that in mind. Just kind of pop it, just kind of jolt it, and you're going to put less force on it than if you're trying to pry. If you try and pry it, you're going to put a lot of load on there, but just bumping it, then you're not going to. So I'd say just lock it up. Try and hold the steering wheel if you can't, and lock it, and you're not going to put a lot of force on that and damage it.
There are people who welcome children into their homes, into their hearts, into a world of opportunity.
Yeah, just take your time with it. Don't. The worst thing you can do with any bolt or any nut is just try and pry and put a lot of force on it. These bolts are old, these nuts are old, the steering wheel's old, that thing that locks the steering wheel is old. Just bump it. You're not going to put a lot of stress on it doing that, and usually they'll break pretty easily. Nardo Gray 951 says, ever seen an 86 951 start to overheat when the AC is on at highway speeds? The car has a new radiator, coolant, vacuum bled, new sensors, fans testifying, even has a new water pump and thermostat. I checked and cleaned all the grounds. Might be radiator cap. Try a new radiator cap and see if that persists. That is the only thing. Oh, he put a new cap on there too. Okay, so could be electrical. I would take like a temperature sensor and just sort of, you know, one of these infrared temp sensors and check the heat at the top there and just see what the actual temperature is. Because it could be something with the gauge. I've seen that as well. I've seen the strangest stuff with the gauges, but yeah, someone also said try the old cap, but I'm thinking that he replaced it because this probably was before all that. He started changing stuff, but it's not a bad idea to try the other cap. So I see a lot of cars, or I've seen a few cars come in, and they'll have you start them up and they immediately start getting warm, like warmer than they should be at that point. So ends up just being the gauge most of the time, and it could be something like that, especially if it's only happening with the AC is on. So for instance, you're driving down the road and it shows it getting hot, you turn the AC off, and then yeah, someone else asked how much is every. I'm going to take it as it's getting up to like the third bar on the gauge. So if you turn the AC off and it goes back down, then you know it's going to be a ground issue at that point. So best thing to do would be go in and clean all the grounds, and you should be good.
Yeah, I'd forgotten it was a Porsche, Judge. Yeah. I've been thinking ahead, yeah. Right.
You haven't done that.
In fact, Hammond had given his 924 sporting credentials it didn't deserve. I've just seen the gear knob. Yes, that's quite a nice addition. I like that. Can I just explain? I spent my money on cheap Ford, so it's been lowered.
All right, whose car was your favorite in that episode? Did you like the Richard Hammond turbo car?
I like the white
Turbo car. He says, I'm thinking about getting the infrared gun to check it out. I redid the wiring behind the glove box too. Car runs fine. Notice the blower fan's slow to excel. Temp almost reached the red. Thinking electrical or something weird. Yeah, it sounds like it could be electrical. If you've changed all that stuff, it's more than likely it's electrical. We see a lot of that stuff. And what's worse about like owning a shop is that I don't like to drive cars before we change the belts, because you never know. I don't want the belt failing on me, so I don't just go drive these cars around randomly, you know. And you get in the car to test it after you've done everything, and you go, wait a minute, was that like that before? Is this the way this car behaved? And you have to call the owner and say, I didn't drive it before, so is this new? And a lot of times it's not anything new. And it's sometimes we like to go in and try and figure out what's going on, but sometimes it's very difficult and it's very deep. But I see that quite a bit. Happy Fox says my temp gauge was way off and I had a loose wire. So I'll tell you a story that happened to my car. It's a car I had years ago. I got in the car, I drove about a mile and the temperature just skyrocketed and I panicked, pulled over and got out, and you could just touch the engine. It was still ice cold. I got back in there and wiggled some wires and it started working right. So when I got back home, I just cleaned all the grounds and never did that again. But it was not happy, but it turned out to be nothing. But it's happened to me in my own car before. If you can still touch the engine, then yeah, you're perfectly fine. But yeah, especially if I've seen 944 turbos. You're driving them and then the temperature's up a little bit higher than I like. You turn off the AC and then it goes back down. We had that problem with a guy going to Georgia with us, or where were we going to 944? One of those places. We were traveling together in a convoy, and he pulled over because his car was overheating, and I get over there and I'm like checking everything. Everything looks perfectly fine. I turn off his AC and the gauge like shakes and goes back down. And I'm like, oh, it's just electrical. And he was fine. Yeah, it's old car problems. Oh yeah, new car problems are even worse. I'd much rather have a gauge that, the tachometer in my mom's 944 went out, and it's like, uses the tack anyway. You listen, it's like, we'll get it fixed, but it's something to live with. But when it comes to the temperature, that is something you don't want to mess around with because you just never know. But a lot of times it's electrical stuff. But I agree. Old car stuff or old car problems are way better than new car problems. Alright guys, how many of you would drive Richard Hammond's Blue Turbo then? Alright, so he said I would try it. I agree. I think it'd be a fun car to have. Alright, who likes James May's white 944? Oh, we're back to his now, but it was up there a second ago. Oh guys, it's gone quiet on me. Alright guys, well I'm going to go ahead and get off here and get back to work. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you guys for coming out, and have a wonderful Sunday.